Hi, welcome back to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Miller. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And I have to apologize because I did not read the times for the plank challenge yesterday. My deepest apologies. So, today, hopefully, you just went ahead and did 20 seconds, but what I was supposed to read to you was 30 seconds. So today is day 4 of the plank challenge. And for both the 3-minute and 5-minute track, we're at 30 seconds. So I have a note for myself to make sure I don't forget that. So 30 seconds today. And today I want to talk about the myth of alcohol as a source of courage. And sometimes it's called liquid courage. And why do I want to talk about this? I don't know. It just came to mind. And I was thinking about all the stupid stuff that I did in the past when I was drinking. I think it might have come up in my meeting this morning. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, that's what's stuck in my craw today. So I thought I would share with you a couple of the stupid things that I did when I was drinking. And then I'll talk a little bit about this liquid courage thing and what happens, and also that feeling that we have the next day, the anxiety, the oh my God, what did I do last night? That feeling. So here's a couple things that I did that were embarrassing. But at the time, I thought that I was just, the bomb shiznit. So, for those of you who are in the Leesburg area, I did frequent shenanigans, and there was a time when I was found doing the worm in the middle of the dance floor at shenanigans. So that was terrible. I did wait for my boyfriend to go to the bathroom so that I didn't do it in front of him. I probably knew even in my drunk state that was unacceptable behavior. Anyway, yeah, I did it. I did the worm, and then I think I followed that up with a little moonwalking. Yeah. So, at my sorority reunion, I don't even know how far we were after I graduated. Maybe like my 10-year reunion. I'm not sure. I have a picture of me dancing on the bar, and then I have kind of memory, little bit of memory, not a lot of memory of falling down at least 3 times the rest of the night. I remember one snapshot in my head is of falling down and I was like in this small little hallway area, and I guess it was just covered in beer on the floor. And yeah, I fell down right in it. And I remember falling down outside. I remember just like, I don't know, collapsing on the sidewalk. Ugh, it's terrible. So I don't even remember really hanging out with my sorority sisters, unfortunately. I fell off of a bar stool at a pool hall once. I made a total idiot of myself at a relative's wedding. I lost my composure at a funeral that I otherwise would have definitely been able to keep my shit together, but I couldn't because I had been drinking before I went. And the reason why I was drinking was because I felt like I couldn't handle the funeral. And in turn, I actually did did myself a little more damage than I probably could have done a little better with it. Um, and then one big memory I have is going on a cruise with my family. And my bar tab was, by the end of the week, was $1,000, and just me. And I went to karaoke night one night. I put my kids to bed in their room, and then everybody went to bed except for me. I went down to the bar they were having karaoke. So I went down and I don't know, just started throwing down some wine, and I have a foggy memory of standing up doing karaoke beside this very, very large, tall stranger, and we were singing Michael Jackson songs. There's a theme, right? I was doing the worm and doing the moonwalk. I guess he didn't do the worm. I don't know. Moonwalk. Anyway, I was singing Michael Jackson songs, and I remember not knowing the words or something, which is really weird because I know all the words to Michael Jackson songs. And and then the next day, all I was walking with my family like through the cruise ship, and all these people knew my name. Like everybody knew my name. And my family was like, "What in the world did you do last night?" And I'm like, and that was, yeah. So that was embarrassing. I don't really know. I don't remember much after singing with the stranger. So who knows what happened. Anyway, so being at social gatherings and, the atmosphere is buzzing and there's clinking and drinks in hand, and every sip you just feel a more boldness, and just, people start laughing. Like in sobriety now, when I go to some sort of social event and you can listen to the sound of the crowd, just it's like somebody just has the volume knob in their hand, and it's just increasing and increasing as the evening goes on. And that's because people's inhibitions are fading, and that confidence is starting to build in people. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about that. So, alcohol's effect on the brain is it floods our system with dopamine, and that makes us feel pleasure, and it tampers with the prefrontal cortex. I'm not a doctor. If I was, I wouldn't be doing a podcast. I just looked this up. So, and that that prefrontal cortex, which holds back our impulses, it messes around with that. So it might feel at the time that we're drinking that we can just conquer the world with no fear and no hesitation, and that ends up having us do things like karaokeing with strangers in front of a bar of, I mean, it was a packed bar. It was a packed bar. So, um, however, this is false courage, and it can lead to dire consequences. And it might embolden you to speak your mind. There are lots of people who start provoking confrontations and conflicts, um, and you know, these actions end up haunting us long after the buzz has worn off. It's a crutch, and leaning on it like alcohol too much to deal with the anxiety and the depression and the reliance to make us feel more courageous really it's temporary, and after it wears off, it's almost like it's worse. um, I remember when I would wake up in the morning and it was just like the anxiety and the depression was just overwhelming. I mean, not only the withdrawal symptoms, so the shaking and stuff, but I had so much anxiety about decisions I had made and things I had said, and it's like it was a different person when I was drinking, doing the things that my body was doing, but there was somebody else driving the bus. Um, and in I think in society, it's like we see, like watching on TV, even since I was little, like they glorify the alcohol courage, like the cowboy knocks back a shot before he starts a gunfight, or like um, James Bond has his iconic martini, and it's it's they we romance it, and that's what I like to call it, is romancing the drink. Like when I um maybe am thinking about, like, there are times when I'll get like an email for there's going to be a Longwood reunion or something like that, or a sorority reunion. My brain immediately starts romancing the drink, meaning I'm thinking about what it was like, only the good stuff. And that's so dangerous for me. Um, what I read about this, like, liquid courage thing, goes all the way back to soldiers on the battlefield drinking gin to boost their confidence. And that's interesting. I didn't know anything about that. So if we take away that romancing the drink side, and not look at the memories of when I was at Longwood and I had so much fun and I was going to parties and all this stuff. There, the, there, it was a dangerous facade. Um, there were I remember probably the most dangerous thing. No, not okay. There's two I'll share with you. The most dangerous things that I did when I was in college was one time my sorority sisters and I were riding back. We did have a designated driver, luckily, but we were riding back from Hampton Sydney, which is the all guys school that is, I don't know, 10 miles from Longwood. And we were riding back, and we were in a truck, and I think there was like three people in the front of the truck, and then the rest of us were in the back of the truck, which we shouldn't have even been doing to begin with. But I decided I was going to surf on the back of the truck. The truck was going like 60 miles an hour, like 55 miles an hour, and I was standing up on the back of the truck surfing. I mean, that's the stupidest thing I have ever heard of. I just can't believe I didn't die that night. Somebody turned around from inside the truck and screamed at me. Thankfully, of course, I didn't like her for a long time, that the one who screamed at me, but I could have been killed. It's just crazy behavior. The other thing that I remember that was dangerous that I did was I was, I guess we were done drinking, like the bar closed or something, and several of us went to this diner. And the diner was a couple miles away from campus, and I don't remember how we got there. Somebody must have driven us there, or I don't remember walking. Anyway, for some reason, I decided I didn't want to be there anymore. So I left this diner by myself in the dark in the middle of the night. I mean, pitch dark in the middle of the night, and walked home. And I was so afraid to be out in the dark by myself that I was like hiding around corners. And I remember going under this bridge and like hiding. I don't know. It's just crazy that I was like that. So using this, obviously, using alcohol for this false courage can be, we're risking our lives at times. So it can go from doing the moonwalk at Shenanigans or doing the worm at Shenanigans to to surfing on the back of a truck that's going 55 miles an hour. I also remember riding on the back of a motorcycle with somebody, and I was completely drunk. And it was going, I don't really remember anything. I had like a helmet on, and I was just holding on for dear life. And that was definitely going at high speeds also. Um, so this, oh gosh, now I'm all spun up about it. Um, this let's switch gears, right? Let's switch gears to the morning after. Um, so what I've seen people call it is hangxiety, which is interesting. I had never heard of that when I was actually drinking, but it's like the regret and worry, um, and it's really like the courage that you got when you were drinking has worn off, and and your body at the same time is getting depleted of the alcohol. And like it usually happens, I think, if you go on a big binge. For me, it started happening like I would drink from, well, I mean, I was always drinking, so it was hard to say, but usually if I was drinking until like 4 in the morning and then I woke up at like 6 or 7, I would have that hangxiety feeling. And so that's when the fear kicked back in, the anxiety kicked back in, the numbing effect of alcohol was wearing off. You know, I I remember feeling like I would wake up, and it took me a moment to think, okay, what did I do last night? And then all of a sudden I would just be like, oh my God. Like it was the most devastating feeling. Like I remember just my face just flushing and my heart was racing, and I was like, you know, these things that you can't change. I remember waking up the next day after having had a terrible argument with a bunch of my friends, and I just felt like I'm never gonna be able to undo that, you know? And just so much regret and stuff. Um, so as we peel back these layers on our dependence on alcohol, we can see that the courage that it was giving us was really avoidance, right? It was I if I wasn't drinking at Shenanigans, um, I would have been sitting in a corner somewhere not talking to anybody because I would have been uncomfortable. But I couldn't get to that happy medium where a normal drinker, you know, somebody who's not an alcoholic would get to, where they um, loosen up a little bit, right? I would either be in the corner or I was on the floor doing the worm. There was no medium for me. And through trying to get liquid courage and avoid the uncomfortable, I ended up just making things worse, um, to say the very least. And instead of confronting my fears and avoiding my problems, I was also avoiding growth. Um, but now that I'm sober, I talk a lot about leaning into discomfort. I realize now that without the drink, I can I can do all of those things that I thought I could only do if I drank. Now I know that the only thing between me and successfully accomplishing those things or walking through those fears is just taking a step forward. That's all it is. All I have to do is suit up and show up. That's it. And the growth just comes. And that's when I start building genuine confidence. And that is when my genuine confidence began. Like, I truly hold my head up higher than I used to when I was drinking. And I feel braver. I almost feel like I've got a little superwoman or Wonder Woman cape on all the time. I just feel like I can do anything, no matter what the challenge is. So the I think too. So the reality of liquid courage, the science behind it, the societal pressures that fuel it, and most importantly, how we break free from its grip is to put it down. The only way that we can really discover the true courage that lies within us is to put it down. It's that simple. It's not easy, but it's simple, if that makes sense. It can be quite hard, honestly, but it's simple. We just don't reach for the drink. And that's where we can start um, being honest with ourselves and learning about ourselves, self discovery, and heal. Um, so, recovery is not about just not picking up a drink, it's about figuring out what our full potential is. And I was never going to figure it out when I was still drinking. I was never going to be the greatest version of me that I can be if I kept drinking. Um, I am a better mom. I'm a better daughter. I'm a better sister. I can say that with 100% confidence. I have family now that reaches out to me and asks me for help when all along when I was drinking, I was the one that needed help and not didn't ever ask for it. Um, and it's just by living through the principles of the program that this stuff just starts happening. If I focus on me, then it happens. And the more that I engage with my life, the more confidence that's being built, the more that I see what I'm capable of. And that's where courage is. Um, Not from a bottle. Definitely not from a bottle. So thank you for tuning in today, and I will talk to you tomorrow.